By using these glasses, by connecting to the network, both by using a remote agent where it's appropriate, as well as the new feature that we're really excited about called Chloe.
Hey Chloe, identify.
I see a CVS pharmacy bottle. It says warfarin sodium tablet. Take 1 tablet every day.
Thanks, Chloe.
Aira, your life, your schedule, right now.
It's a silver suitcase with the blue tag on the handle.
All right, I do think I see it there. It's got like a blue tag with some sort of white on it, maybe a picture of a person.
Yeah. Okay, let me reach for it.
Creating opportunities for employment. Innovations that will change augmented reality for everybody.
It was definitely an experience for me. I have to say this one goes down on my bucket list personally, but as a real new experience that somebody could have at the Super Bowl, this was really the first time anybody's ever done something like this. Provide an experience that no one had really in the blind and visually impaired community had ever had with a sporting event with that level of detail. My day started.
And hear about what's new, what's upcoming, and Suman's surprise for the NFB convention.
I have a neat surprise that I haven't mentioned it to anybody yet.
A conversation with Aira CEO Suman Kanuganti. Download the Aira app to your smartphone. From airport to your Lyft service to the hotel and throughout the convention center, the Aira guest service is absolutely free. Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson.
And I'm Pete Lane. Our guest today is Suman Kanuganti. Suman is the Chief Executive Officer of the Aira Tech Corporation. I'm sure many of you recall Suman from a previous interview we had with him on Blind Abilities, as well as many other members of the Aira team. Suman, I'd like to welcome you back to Blind Abilities.
Thanks, Pete and Jeff. It's always a pleasure to speak with you both. I know it's been a while, so I'm super glad to be back.
Suman, so much has happened with Aira over the years, particularly since we spoke with you last. In order to narrow it down a little, can you highlight some of the most significant recent changes and enhancements to your service and maybe what's in store with Aira for the coming months?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. I can probably talk to it for 1 hour.
We've got plenty of time.
How can I summarize? Basically, in the last 1 year, our primary focus has been, let's say, narrowed down to 3 main topics, which is 1, how can we make the service more affordable and make it available for a larger audience and available for everyone? And 2, how can we continue to increase the value in the product as well as in the service that existed last year? And we have added several different features and value-added programs that I can expand into. And finally, we did do some experimentation and focus on applying Aira to the mainstream applications as well, beyond blind and low vision. So those are the primary 3 themes, if you will, on all the things that happen at Aira. And it will continue to happen in the near future as well.
Thank you for calling Aira. This is Emily. How can I help you?
Training for me was a really long process. I went through and did an online course where we learned quite a bit about the blind and visually impaired community, what it means to be an Aira agent, best practices wise, and quite a bit about Aira as a company. My most memorable...
Speaking of affordability and availability for everyone, for us as a company, it's more about, just not providing the assistance information to the blind and low vision people, but it's also more about restructuring the entire economy that exists in the blind industry as a whole, right? So I think you may have heard of our back to school program, where we sent 100 students last year with Aira to school, and then we are extending that program to 200 students this year. Right. And the Aira employment program is something we launched earlier this year with support from major organizations throughout the country, pretty much connecting the people who are using Aira as a platform for all things related taking onto jobs, to laying a foundation and the platform for more and more employers to join our employer network, to basically depend or rely on the data that exists between identifying the skills and then mapping to the respective jobs. So we invested heavily on the Aira employment program. So that's another thing that happened, which was huge. What else? We continue to push on our partnerships with AT&T and most recently Lyft, which you guys know about, and we can expand on it as well. And finally, we continue to evolve our Aira Access network towards affordability. So this whole idea about restructuring the economy and really moving the needle, not just in day-to-day tasks, but really thinking through on how a platform like Aira could benefit the economy overall is really something near and dear to my heart. And everything that you see at Aira will be geared towards achieving big goals with ambitions that really moving the mountain.
Move the mountain. I like it.
Now, the second thing was about the product and the service, right? Agents continue to evolve. There is so much emphasis on the training and so much emphasis on the confidentiality and professionalism. And we have, let's say, went from having 8 or 9 different policies to now close to 90 or 100 different policies that exist for our agents. And the training element continues to increase, right? And it's very important to keep up to date with what our explorers are seeking, what are we learning on a day-to-day basis, and how that goes back into our agent training protocols and policies that ultimately will create more standardization and a known commodity, if you will, in the industry. Because the more it is known what to expect, the more efficiencies and productivity that we can drive collectively together.
On that note, Suman, you've got several vehicles in place for hearing Explorer concerns and comments and issues. You've got your Explorer Community Forum, you've got a WhatsApp group for Explorers, and so the communication between the Explorers and your team is definitely there. So I'm wondering if that has contributed to the increase in issues and therefore the rules.
A lot of it actually is driven by the community. I want to say all of it, but you always want to leave that room, right? The new feature sets, or how do we communicate, or what is the most demanded features that people are asking for? What kind of communications that people want from agents and not want, right? There are some really hard problems as well. The good thing is we have the community, and we never shy off asking the community themselves on, what do you guys think about it? Please let us know, and as well as engage the advocates and the advisors that are supporting the company. And we have a lot of internal explorers as well, right, who has used the service before, and they have a very clear vision of what Aira could be beneficial for them, as well as where the company should be headed to. So I think combination of internal explorers to the community and to the advisory group, there isn't lack of feedback mechanism, and sometimes it is very clear on what needs to be done. And that is very important to prioritize things, especially when you are a startup company where everything is limited, and the time is limited, the money is limited, the resources are limited, but you still got to do the best thing that exists out there in the world, right? So yeah.
The only thing more difficult than asking for feedback is responding and reacting to it, right?
Yeah, but otherwise, I think super thankful for the community. I always say that I see and hear everything. I may not be actively engaging with every individual post out there, but I have a complete feed coming in to have a very good assessment, if you will, on having a perspective from all different groups of people. Yeah.
Aira can be used on such a huge scale, and it can be used to provide an experience that a user might not have ever experienced in their life. We had a user whose father was a veteran, and they were buried in Arlington National Cemetery. So I was able to figure out through the Arlington National Cemetery website.
Suman, you mentioned a lot about jobs and employment, and I think that's very important. I'm glad you guys really look at that area. When we're talking about vocational rehab or state services for the blind, I know that some states have got on board with Aira. How is that response going with other states?
I think I want to say good, but not as fast as we would like to. The thing about Aira, Jeff, and Pete is that, at least from what I learned from the community, from the industry, as well as from outside people, is one of those inflecting innovations where it is a unique and newer way of doing things, which is very much geared towards productivity and efficiency. A simple example that everybody can relate to, and I'm not a scientist on this one, is nobody wanted phones, and people were living just fine with the phones. But this idea of smartphone, when it became a utility, it's more about getting things done faster, efficient, and productivity gains continue to enhance. And as a human being, I think we all want to do more things, and day-to-day productivity will only continue to rise as technology develops. So when it comes down to, breaking up some of the channels and some of the traditional way of thinking about anything, it's not just about the industry, blind industry as a whole, but in general, any new industry, new thing in the industry has the same problem. So where I'm going with this is, when we work with our government channels or work rehab or VA or even business side of things, or even, with some of the organizations and individual people who are blind, there is some awareness conversation that needs to happen. And I think Aira as a company alone cannot do this thing. And that's one of the reasons why we seek out help from advocates and explorers that are out there who are deep into the philosophy of Aira, the standardization of the information. And it's not just about the video streaming technology, but it's much more to it, right? It's a platform. So with the VR, I think we are getting to that inflection point right now, and we need help from the community to continue to educate and bring awareness on what is Aira up to and why is it unique than anything else that exists, and why ultimately it will move the needle with the employment of the jobs. And at the end of the day, 25, I believe now 26% of entire sessions here at Aira are job-related tasks, like people are doing on a day-to-day basis. So the data will speak to itself, right? And that's the strongest case that one could make. I think I'm coming forward with the data, so you better do something about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my wife got hers through reasonable accommodation, where she works for the state of Minnesota. When I put on my thinking from an Aira perspective, I was thinking a state agency could purchase the service and work towards them getting a job and then segue it into the company. It just seems like a natural fit, and she loves it. She uses it, and it just seems like something that's going to be coming down the line.
I think we are making the progress. We are making progress, and there are some success stories, and we have approval from few of them, and we have some new people joining the company focusing on that front as well. So I'm hoping things will move faster, because now, the idea of Aira, I think at least we want to get rid of the problem of awareness. I think that the problem of awareness still exists right now.
Yeah, and I think there's a mindset that you need to chip away at. Some of this old school thinking where they don't recognize Aira as not necessarily a valid tool, but it's still new, and they've got to become acquainted and familiar with it. Change that mindset.
Yeah, one of the mentors, I would say, but also an explorer, he said, the easy way to think about Aira in a VR setting is to think about it as a reader, right? So you would have readers. Aira would essentially do the same thing, but in a much more controlled fashion, on your own time, on your own terms, and beyond just the reading capabilities itself. So I think that seemed to resonate a little bit more, but we will continue to refine and make the proper pitch.
You mentioned the tasks that are employment related. Along those same lines, have you recognized tasks or perhaps capabilities that Aira can offer and that agents can offer that perhaps are not widely known, or maybe not being taken advantage of sufficiently or to the extent they can in the Explorer community?
The short answer is yes, Pete. One thing you may have noticed is we're trying to figure out a communication mechanism that not only between the explorers, but also some sort of in-app content on what other folks are doing in several different categories. We track tasks in multitude of different categories, anywhere from reading to navigation to traveling to household chores to social interactions to at work tasks and entertainment as well. So these are all the things that we tend to track. And now we would like to start sharing somehow easily through the in-app content, so that way people know what other explorers are doing in what categories.
Great, good.
What else is going on? I can think of, the Horizon glasses, which is one of the big ones that happen, right? And we will continue to invest and get the technology right with the glasses.
Of course, yes.
But we also pushed out what we call the guest program, which is a free active Aira for anyone at the participating access locations. And we are continuing to add more and more value for our guests as well, besides the explorers, and of course explorers can use as well. That continued to happen. And finally, Chloe is now real, so I'm really excited about that. And I can talk a little bit more about Chloe, later on, when we talk about the dashboard itself. That you wanted me to.
Good.
The last point was the global expansion. So we did move to Australia and Canada. We made partnerships with Vision Australia and as well as CNIB in Canada. And we have launched in partnership with them. And we got few explorers in Australia and Canada. And it's always fun to get people calling in from these different countries. And there are 2 pilot programs going on as well in UK and New Zealand. Yep.
Yes, I'm hearing a lot of different accents on the WhatsApp group. Some familiar voices as well.
I do too. And it reminds me of my British accent.
That's right.
It's almost funny because, I grew up in India, of course, and I came in here, right? And I have a lot of American friends back in Missouri. And so I got like a little bit of Midwestern style that I picked up. But then whenever I talk to people in Australia and UK, and then I pick up the British accent. And then when I talk to people in office, then I have Indian accent. So it's like, multitude of different things. Like, but it's fun.
You're right.
It's kind of fun.
You adapt to the audience, right? Good for you.
Hello, and thank you for calling Aira. This is Ryan. How can I help you today, Zach?
Yeah, I need to get a ride from the Curtis Hotel to the Denver International Airport.
All right, give me just one.
So Horizon, you touched on it. Why don't we talk a little bit more about it? I, as an explorer, have been notified that I should receive my Horizon glass this week sometime, so I'm anxiously awaiting that.
And Lori has me checking the mail every day.
Yes, exactly. Talk a little bit about the Horizon glass and what's in store for folks who receive that device.
Horizon. Greg always liked to say good things are on the horizon. And he started that when he first gave a presentation about Horizon, what's going on. And it was a thing that stick to everybody, including both inside the company as well as outside. Horizon, at a very high level, what we are trying to push for is an interaction to both digital and the physical world based on voice interactions. So at the end of the day, for our customers who are explorers, who are blind and low vision people, voice is one of the prime, sensory input as well as output for communicating with not just the digital world, now with the physical world as well with Aira. So Horizon is specifically designed and targeted to fulfill the dream of what we call voice first revolution or voice first interaction. So, how do you go about seeking the information that one would want just purely with voice experience? I think the industry had made good progress with Amazon's Alexa and as well as Google Home Assistant, and there are a lot of voice assistants that are coming out. But if you think about it, most of these assistants right now are interacting with the digital world. You ask a question and then you get the answer back. When we are designing Chloe to be an interactive voice first AI assistant that is learning based on human interactions between our agents and the users, we are talking about an intelligence that did not exist or doesn't exist in the industry as of yet. Why? Because there isn't a platform like Aira where we are going to market by providing value to the community with our agents and with our explorers, trying to get things done or tasks done with an underlying framework of philosophy, which is thinking like a set of eyes, not thinking like a brain, where you are only providing the information and it's up to the individual user to make the decision, right? So where is all this headed to? This whole idea of Chloe and Horizon is to enhance those voice first interactions. Today, a larger set of those interactions are happening between explorers and human agents, but in the future, there could be more and more tasks that will be interactive with our agent Chloe as well. Although the beauty part in this whole thing is Chloe is embedded in your Horizon. Chloe is embedded in our dashboard, and it is constantly listening to both your agents and explorers, and it is constantly adapting and learning, right? So it's kind of beautiful when you think about almost having a third person sitting next to the agent or next to the explorer and kind of watching what else is going on and learning along the way, and also learning about the physical environment that exists out there. So Horizon is great for some of the technical related problems that we have right now, but it is a game changer in the way the platform will evolve that will exponentially create greater value to the overall service and product, if you will, if that makes any sense. But I can clarify anything, whatever I said. I know there's a lot of jargon in there.
Oh, you made that pretty clear. Chloe is there for everybody. The agent, the explorer, and I'm sure as soon as the sighted people see this, they'll want it too.
Right.
Suman, I was a big 24 fan, the TV show, and Chloe was on there. I just thought it was really neat when I first heard you last convention mention Chloe. I thought, could that be from 24?
and you know that, right? It is exactly from 24.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, so it's a Jack Power's assistant, and the idea of she looking through his eyes, and she has the access to GPS, she has access to information and data at hand. That could also lead into our conversation about the dashboard, right, Jeff? So like we can talk about Aira in a very simplistic terms, but there is also a lot more happening underneath it, which adds to the overall efficiency and professionalism and as well as productivity of not only the agent, but also to the explorers, right? So the dashboard piece is very powerful. You can say, oh, what is Aira? Well, it is a video streaming technology connecting people who are blind to the agent. It's like, well, we have FaceTime for that. Exactly. So this is a richer platform beyond what you're talking, video to video communication from a FaceTime. It is about creating the situational awareness and contextual behavior and sense and personalizing the individual need based on where they are. Right? When you are in an airport situation, navigation and the reading of signs and the restaurants and the contextual information is very much targeted towards the airport. When you are in grocery store, the context is different. When you are at home and trying to cook something at home, the context is different. So on the dashboard, there are multitude of data streams that are coming from various different places besides the video stream, the GPS, the accelerometer, magnetometer information, the street view, the map view, the satellite view, the Uber integration, the Lyft integration, right? And we have more integration in the pipeline. And of course, the individual user profile, which is now evolving. I can probably give more information about that, but it is something that is coming up in the near future. So this whole idea that there is a human being who has an expectation on what needs to be happening, and they have rudimentary skills to assess individual needs faster. Using the data, the digital world is also working for you at your fingertips. And slowly, most of this is going to be adapted by what we call Chloe. And there are more interactions that explorers will start to gain from Chloe, right? And right now, yeah, sure, it's blind and low vision people, and we are augmenting the human being, if you will, with voice information about digital and their physical world, about the environment. But this is something we foresee that everybody would make benefit of, and that's where the company is headed to. And that's why I said one of the big focus is Aira for mainstream application.
That makes perfectly good sense, because I can get my mom on FaceTime, but she's not going to tell me where something is or something like that. And that you made, the point you made about FaceTime versus Aira, with that dashboard, they have access to where you are, everything like that. And it's just getting bigger and bigger. And like you said, the sighted people would want that information too, because I've been in airports where the sighted people can't even read the signs, or, they get lost themselves.
Let's talk about the sighted people. Like, you walk in, you look left, you look right. But the thing that you want is straight ahead, and you're always wondering like where things are. So this whole notion of augmenting somebody's environment is a powerful thing, and it's not just Aira that is trying to solve it. I mean, we have mainstream guys, Google, Amazon, trying to solve this as well. But the beauty is we have an existing platform that is already serving our explorers and with our agents. That makes it a sort of an unfair advantage, if you will, and gives Aira a competitive edge on how do we go about solving this particular problem of augmentation. You will have Chloe in your ear, or, if you end up integrating with Alexa, it will be in your ear, and that will partly become the next digital revolution. You always have a digital revolution every 20 years, right? And last 20 years, it was all about the computing power and the screens, right? And all the information that was thrown at people is through visual screens. The so-called voiceover and the accessibility that exists on the phone is great, but it is still geared towards the visual experience. It is basically giving you a navigation for what is designed for people who are sighted. Now, the next digital revolution is more about creating those voice experiences, voice interaction. Because when you are interacting with Echo, which is designed for voice interaction, it is not about what they call how do you use voiceover or accessibility features on a screen to navigate a visual screen, which is designed for visual people, if that makes any sense, But the next 20-year voice revolution is gonna be a huge deal, not just for our community, I'm referring to blind and low vision, but also for everybody. And that's gonna be a game-changing thing.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because there's no other company out there doing augmented reality in real time with real people right now.
With voice, yeah, exactly. Most of the augmented reality applications out there are still very much focused on overlaying, visual information on top of your existing physical world. And there is research done from neuroscience on how that is not going to scale. A simple example is a majority of accidents with a car happen not because when a person is driving and talking on the phone, but in fact, when they are driving and texting, because it is using the same visual sensory input for both driving as texting.
Right.
It is traditionally backed by neuroscience that you can process two different streams of inputs, both from a visual source as well as a auditory source simultaneously. And you have perfect balance that you can hear from two streams of information just fine and process it. So when you talk about augmented reality, we focus heavily on augmenting a human being with voice information and not necessarily on the visual information, because not visually, because at the end of the day, it's going to be soon overloaded on how much information you throw visually, that is thrown at you. You have like multiple devices, and the devices with the screens are only increasing. You go to Vegas or you go to airport, there is so much information that you are not perceiving anything. And that's where we would be in a demand. When I say we, a human being would be in a demand to unlock a secondary input to seek this information. And that's going to be your auditory perception. Anyway.
Fascinating.
Sorry, I think it's too much of a distraction, but I think it's all relevant to what we are doing at Aira.
Very much so, yes.
Every single time I answer a call, I never know where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing, and I absolutely love that.
So we got the 2018 conventions right around the corner, and we'll be down at the NFB convention in Orlando, and we were down there last year, and it was exciting. There is you could not help but to, I don't want to say run into an Aira agent, but someone from Aira was down there right in the hallway. People were walking around test driving using an Aira agent, and a lot of positivity flowing about it. What do you got planned for this year?
If I say it all, then there won't be any surprises.
There you go. Yeah.
But let's say the NFB convention is near to our hearts. We have great presence at ACB, we have great presence at NFB, and it's one of my favorite times of the year as well. Definitely have a lot of new features that are coming up that we will be announcing at the convention, and we will be having a greater sense of explorer community and agent community coming together, talking about Aira and the issues that exist today, but also the benefits that we want in the future. And we'll have Aira Explorer parties and so forth. We at the NFB convention doing a event. Apple, the app from Black Eyed Peas, is gonna perform a opening concert. It's just pretty cool because one of the things that I would like to bring music and rock music specifically, entertainment, if you will, to the convention. So I pitched this, and I'm super glad it's all happening right now. So I'm
That's great.
Super excited about it. We are doing several different things. In regards to Aira presence at the convention itself, we'll have 3 different breakout sessions, one focused on Aira community, one focused on Aira technology, and the other focused on Aira programs. So we have 3 different tracks going on. I have a neat surprise that I haven't mentioned it to anybody yet at this convention. So I'm excited about that. I'll probably hold off.
And you can't share it with us. We can't break the news, huh?
I'm gonna guess. Is it a rear view mirror?
But just wild, and the surprises are gonna be wild. But I'm hoping it's a neat thing, and I think it also adds to some of the fun and energy that we would like to always bring into the convention. I'm hoping that will come through well. And Chloe and Horizon glasses will be displaying Horizon glasses. We'll be doing the demos with it, and people who want to touch and feel it. All that will happen. Agents will be on the floor. I have a large number of people coming to the convention as well. So, meeting the agent, meeting our explorers, meeting employees, internal explorer employees, as well as, product people and technology people. So I will have, I don't remember the number, probably anywhere between 14 and 18 people from Aira will be out there as physically at the convention. So so we'll talk Chloe, we'll talk Horizon, we'll talk everything. All the things that you can expect, we'll do it.
And then some.
You got to start selling those T-shirts, those Aira T-shirts.
Absolutely.
Aira T-shirts. I'm an Aira Explorer. We got the new ones now. We'll bring those to the convention.
By all means.
Of course, we usually give them away to all the explorers.
That's right. We chatted the other day, Suman, with Tommy Hayes and Marco Salsiccia from Lyft Corporation. And they talked a little bit about the partnership with Aira. Why don't you share your thoughts on the partnership with Aira and Lyft and what's in store for Orlando?
Absolutely. So we partnered with Lyft. Our partnership with Lyft falls into our greater effort to create smart cities, right? So, you asked what else are we doing at the NFB convention? At the NFB convention, people can download Aira as just on their mobile app for free, even people who are not subscribers. And they can use Aira as guest for free at the airport, call Lyft through Aira app for free. You can use Aira for free at the Rosen Shingle Creek Hotel, as well as there is an Overflow Hotel as well. And we partnered with Lyft to create that end-to-end experience on getting from the airport to the hotel, all integrated into the Aira platform. So once you land at Orlando, you can simply open the app, you can call in, use Aira to navigate around the airport, pick up the bag. You can authorize your Lyft account in the Aira app, and you can make Aira calls to get access to request the Lyft ride one, and then navigate outside to, where you wait for the ride itself. You can use agent helps to identify the car, the license plate, get in the car, as well as once you get off at the hotel, you can use Aira for free to that last 1 mile problem, as well as navigate inside the hotel too. And this Lyft integration is, because of the partnership, it is available throughout the city. So wherever you are going in Orlando during the convention, you use Aira and get Lyft, and there is all for free. You'll still have to, of course, pay for your ride, but pretty much using Aira for Lyft integration is all free.
Yeah, they were impressive in the efforts that they've made towards developing accessibility into their app and their commitment to accommodating the disabled community. They were very committed to that, it seemed.
Especially Marco, he's an explorer. He was really excited.
Yeah. You guys know how the integration works, right? So we have all the information about the ride. Agents can request the Lyft. They can track the car. They know the color, the license plate of the car. They have the driver information as well. And of course, there is GPS information from the Explorer too. So typical sessions that people are requesting or getting help from Lyft involve finding the driver, sometimes ensuring you are on the right track, sometimes even knowing the driver name, and there is some language barriers too. It's very interesting. It's pretty much like amazes me, like how many people out there who are like Lyft drivers doesn't speak English, or even Uber drivers doesn't speak English. A number of times explorers telling about their stories in Lyft or Uber when they cannot communicate with the driver, they use an agent to ensure they are getting off at the right place, which is pretty awesome. So there are multiple use cases with that integration, and Lyft also participated in our Aira employment program. They provided first 100 free rides for people who are using Aira and going onto the job site. For the employment program, they're also paying for the ride. So I think we only continue to build upon our existing partnerships with Lyft, and I'm super glad this all came together to showcase our commitment for each other as well as to the community at the convention.
Suman, I work with the state agencies a lot and a lot about education and stuff. And earlier you mentioned the student program that was successful last year. You said you're going to continue that this year?
Yes. we are going to double that. So last year, our target was 100 students, and this year we are going to target 200 students. So there will be 200 Aira scholarships.
Oh, that's awesome.
And essentially that involves providing Aira free of charge for an entire school year, their freshman year. Is that correct?
That is correct. I believe it's 9 months.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah. Our assistant here, Jessica Hodges, she received the scholarship. She was one of the 100, and she loves it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Jessica. Yeah, and I of course know Jessica. Yeah, she's great.
We are speaking again with Suman Kanuganti. Suman is the CEO of Aira. Suman, you've been very, very nice to take some time out of your obviously busy day and share some thoughts with us and some things that are in store for blind and visually impaired individuals in the future. You know, one thing that rings home with me was what you said early on in this interview, and that was, you know, one of the concerns that we hear about all the time is the cost factor of Aira. And you are doing things that are actually not just defraying the cost, but absolutely averting the cost. Your Aira employment program actually saves money out of pocket. That saves employees of a participating employer from actually having to subscribe and pay a subscription fee to Aira. The guest program, or now the Aira Access program, gives free access to almost the full scope of Aira services, at least through the smartphone camera, which again saves money out of pocket. So there are definitely benefits out there if you're not ready to outlay a monthly subscription. And I'm very pleased to hear those efforts.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we are here collectively to push on providing a quality information as a tool service, of course, powered by human agents who are professionally trained. And there is more Chloe coming in. And ultimately getting rid of this problem of time tax, right? One of the explorers gave me that explanation, which I thought resonates very well in what I try to explain to the investors or to other stakeholders that are involved in the company. It's about time tax. And we are not going to stop. We are only continuing to evolve, add more things to our platform, grow our explorer base, grow our access network, and make it more and more affordable without having to compromise on any aspect, either it be quality, the style, the agents, the scalability, and it requires a collective, set of minds on the table. And it's not just about Aira as a company doing this. It's about the company, the people, the community, the people who are backing the company, the technology, and as well as, I mean, there is a government play as well, right? We talked about VR. So it's moving in the right direction, and I am very confident and positive that all the platform aspects of Aira is only going to yield more and more positive results, ultimately targeting the issue of restructuring the economy, and we will do it.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, the value of Aira is going higher and higher. I mean, the value that people are going to receive from using the service, and I'm glad to see that it's growing.
Yep.
Like Pete said, I want to thank you very much for taking the time, carving out some time and coming on to Blind Abilities and talking about this. And we're going to be excited to see you in Orlando in just a couple weeks.
That's awesome. Yes, I'm excited as well. I look forward for the convention.
Suman, thank you so much again. And we appreciate your candor. And we'd like to thank everybody out there for listening, and have a great day.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Suman. You take care.
It's always a great time talking to Suman. Be sure to download the Aira app. That's AIRA. And check them out on the web at aira.io. And on Twitter at AIRAIO. And stay tuned to Blind Abilities, as we'll bring you more Aira information throughout the convention. And a big thank you to Chichow for your beautiful music. You can follow Chichow on Twitter at LChichow. And as always, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see through
each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the realities of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, Blind Abilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.